The wind howls through the icy crevices of Yakutia, a place where winter seems endless and the cold stands still. In this remote land, amidst silent forests and frost-cracked ground, lies a small village with only a few dozen inhabitants. Among them, the most remarkable is a woman who has lived for nearly a century, 90-year-old Ayana. The entire region knows her as the last keeper of the traditional snow sheep. This is an endemic breed with soft, fluffy white wool and incredible cold tolerance. But more than anything, she is admired for her extraordinary will to live, something many younger people struggle to match. Ayana lives in a simple wooden hut on a snow-covered hillside. Despite her advanced age, her eyes are still sharp, and her voice always holds a hint of pride when she speaks of the snow sheep her family has cared for generations. "They're not just sheep, my dear," she often tells visitors. "They're part of the soul of this land." She lives alone. Her only son left Yakutia many years ago, unable to bear the harsh life. So she wakes each morning to the tinkling of wind chimes, brews a pot of hot tea from melted snow, and goes to the backyard to check on her flock. Life goes on quietly, day after day, until one particular night, a night that would make her name spoken with reverence across the land. That day was unusually cold, reaching -71 degrees Celsius, a temperature that can freeze your breath in an instant. The sky was a leaden gray, and the wind was so strong it made the door of her hut creak heavily. That afternoon, while gathering food for her sheep, Ayana noticed something that made her stop. Wolf footprints. They stretched from the edge of the forest to near her pasture. She paused for a long time. The people of Yakutia have a special ability. Just by looking at footprints, they can deduce many things. The depth of the imprints, the spacing between the steps, the direction, all of it reveals a story that others wouldn't easily recognize. And Ayana knew immediately what this story meant. The wolves were hungry, and they were making their way towards her snow sheep. Normally, the wolf packs in this region consist of only a few dozen animals, but these footprints were denser than anything she had ever seen in her life. Not just a few, she murmured to herself, at least several hundred, or more. That evening, the wind grew even stronger. The deep tranquility of the icy region was suddenly replaced by a palpable sense of unease. That night, Ayana couldn't sleep. She sat by the fireplace, the red firelight reflecting on her wrinkled face, each line a testament to a lifetime of resilience. Her hand gripped the eucalyptus shepherd's staff, an object that had been with her for over 40 years. Around midnight, a prolonged howl echoed from the forest. One howl, then more, merging into a chorus that seemed to shake the very air. The wolves were near. She wrapped her old fur coat around her thin arms. Each step she took on the snow produced a small but distinct crackling sound in the silent night. When she reached the sheep pen, the sight that greeted her made her breath catch in her throat. The snow sheep were huddled together in a tight circle, trembling, their dark eyes fixed fearfully on the distance. And in that distance, hundreds of tiny specks of light were moving in the darkness. They were wolf eyes, and they were approaching. As the wolves poured out from the edge of the forest, Ayana realized their numbers far exceeded her darkest imagination. Not a few hundred, not even 500. It was a massive pack, nearly 1,000 strong, as she estimated by the specks of light reflecting off the snow. This was the result of the harshest winter in 40 years. Food was scarce, and smaller wolf packs had joined together for survival. Now, they stood before her snow sheep, an irresistible source of food. In a situation like this, any sane person would retreat, run back into their house, and hope the wolves would eventually leave. But Ayana did not. She whispered to the wind, "No one touches my little ones." Then, she stepped forward, positioning herself between her flock and the sea of wolves. Planting her walking stick firmly in the snow, she stood tall, looking unusually majestic under the -71-degree sky. An alpha wolf, large and powerful, its silver gray fur matted with snow, advanced from the pack. Its cold, intelligent eyes challenged this lone opponent of a different species. But Ayana did not back down. Faced with the danger that would make most people tremble, she stood firm, because before her were not just wolves, but memories of a bygone era. When she was young, she had single-handedly saved a flock of sheep from wild beasts. Her husband used to laugh and call her the soul of the snow. That name had stuck with her for many years. Although he had passed away long ago, every time she faced danger, she remembered that name, and it became an invisible source of strength. "I am no longer young," she thought to herself, "but my heart is the same as it was before." The wind still blew fiercely, swirling snow around her, but her aged eyes never left the alpha wolf. And that's when something strange happened. Old Ayana reached into her coat and pulled out an antique sheep Bella family heirloom for over half a century. She raised it high, then shook it forcefully. A sharp, metallic clang rang out, piercing the freezing night. A few of the wolves in the front recoiled. It wasn't that they were afraid of the bell itself. It was because the sound was strange. It was so unexpected that it disrupted their instinctive hunting rhythm. In the wild, a single moment of disarray can cause an entire pack to hesitate. And she had found that moment. She shook the bell again. Then, she planted her staff back in the ground and took half a step forward, a bold, defiant action, as if declaring to the pack that she was not afraid. That decisiveness caused the alpha wolf's eyes to narrow, observing her more closely. A ripple of uncertainty spread through the pack. They couldn't understand why this small, frail creature dared to stand before them. In the midst of this escalating tension, another sound echoed from deep within the forest. It was distant, yet loud enough to reach the wolf's keen ears. It was the sound of footsteps of the Yakutia people. A group of local hunters, having heard the unusual, prolonged howling, had gathered together. They carried torches and clanged metal rods, creating a resounding, cacophonous noise. The loud noise and the approaching lights startled the wolves. Some began to retreat. Their survival instinct drove them away from the clamor and brightness. The alpha wolf gazed at the old woman for a few more seconds, its eyes wavering between attack and retreat. But when the first torchlight appeared over the hilltop, it made its decision. The alpha turned, and within minutes, the entire pack of 1,000 wolves, like a dark cloud drifting across the snow, melted away into the deep darkness. Old Ayana finally breathed a sigh of relief, her legs trembling from both the intense cold and the sheer exhaustion. But she had stood firm until the very end, as the first rays of morning sun shone upon the vast, snow-covered landscape. The village of Yakutia awoke to a story that spread faster than the wind. Grandma Ayana single-handedly confronted 1,000 wolves. She feared neither the cold nor the ferocious beasts. People flocked to her hut, bringing blankets, hot tea, food, and no small measure of admiration. The snow sheep remained safe, huddled around her gratefully. A young person asked her, "Grandma, were you truly not afraid?" She only smiled. "I've lived 90 years with snow, wolves, and wind. Fear only comes when you don't yet know what you're protecting." Then she placed her hand on the head of a small white sheep. "And I know." After that night, Grandma Ayana became a living legend of Yakutia, not because she defeated the wolves, but because she dared to stand firm against the harshest face of nature. Her story reminds everyone that courage doesn't come from physical strength. Steadfastness comes from a heart that knows how to protect what it cherishes. An old woman can still be stronger than a herd of wild animals if she refuses to give up. A few weeks later, the weather warmed up just a little. Old Ayana led her snow sheep back to their familiar pasture. She walked slowly, but her steps were sure. Each footprint in the snow was a reminder that she was still the soul of this place. The ancient bell rang again. Its sound carried on the wind, blending with the sheep's bleating, like a timeless song of perseverance. And no matter how harsh nature might be, the people of Yakutia knew that as long as old Ayana stood there, the snow sheep would always be protected. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales of incredible human spirit.